Welcome to the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast. We asked you to send in some flash fiction, and wow, you guys delivered some really cool stuff.
Some really creative pieces.
And we thought for today, we would pick a couple that really stood out to us.
Right.
Both of these take the idea of a ninja and put them in places you really wouldn't expect.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's fascinating to see how that archetype, the ninja, can be so powerful even when everything around them is completely different.
You know what I think is really cool about these two stories is how each of the authors has taken those classic ninja elements, you know, the skill, the mystery, that invisibility,
Right.
and they've woven those into totally unique settings.
Totally.
So our mission today, I think, is to figure out not just what happens in these stories,
Yeah.
but why the ninja feels so at home in these roles that are so unexpected.
So, okay, let's jump right in
Let's do it.
with the first story, The Saint of Steel.
Okay.
Just that title alone, when I first saw it,
Yeah.
it really grabbed me.
I-
Because you've got saint, which makes you think of, you know, holiness and purity.
Right.
And then steel, which is all about weapons and fighting.
Absolutely. Conflict.
And at the heart of this story is Joan of Arc, reimagined as a ninja warrior.
I think that's where the brilliance of this story lies.
Yeah.
That kind of clash right from the start.
Yeah.
You've got this iconic historical figure, famous for her faith
Right.
and for leading the French resistance against the English.
And, you know, everyone knows that story.
Exactly.
So the story kind of drops us right into that conflict. You know, France is in despair, but Jean is determined to fight.
Yeah, and it's the voices she hears that drive her.
Right from the beginning.
But then the story takes this really cool turn.
Yeah.
It's not just divine guidance that gives her strength. It's like she's got this incredible martial skill.
Yeah, it's almost supernatural.
Almost supernatural.
But it's not like she just suddenly transforms.
No.
The story cleverly reveals her background, piece by piece. Her father's blade, the training she did alone in the woods, guided by those voices.
Right.
It makes you think, okay, maybe the voices showed her the way.
Uh-huh.
But that agility, the deadly precision,
Right.
that came from serious practice.
Yeah, dedication, honing that skill.
I'm guessing you picked this story because it takes such a well-known figure
Absolutely.
and flips the script.
And I think that's what makes the fantasy element so believable.
Yeah,
It's not just, oh, she's got powers because God gave them to her.
right.
It's rooted in this really intense training.
Makes her more human in a way.
Exactly. She's not just a puppet of some higher power.
Right, she's an active participant.
The voices might guide her, but it's her own discipline that makes her move like a wraith.
Oh, I love that line.
Yeah, and strike like a viper.
It's so vivid.
So vivid.
This blend of the spiritual and the earthly, it's really powerful.
Really compelling.
And that contrast, that clash, it really comes through in the scene at the Dolphins Court.
Oh, yeah.
You can just picture these coordinates.
Right. So sophisticated.
Yeah, all wrapped up in politics, and they're probably expecting some kind of, you know, spiritual visionary.
Yeah, and then Jean shows up.
And you can just feel their skepticism.
Absolutely.
But it's not just what she says that convinces them, it's what she does.
Right.
That demonstration of skill.
That's the turning point.
It's one thing to claim divine inspiration. It's another to show them you can back it up.
Absolutely.
And the way she moves, it's like watching a warrior in disguise.
Yeah, disguise as a holy messenger.
It completely flips their expectation.
It really does.
And then at the Siege of Orleans, she becomes this symbol of hope.
Right.
But the story doesn't let her be just a symbol.
No.
It's clear that she's making a real impact.
Right.
Her focused fury in battle and that incredible swordsmanship.
Which comes from all that training. It all
Yes.
comes together.
And it helps break the siege.
So you've got this divine purpose, but it's channeled through very real, very deadly ninja skills.
And I like how the story emphasizes that the voices guide her.
Right. They don't fight for her.
It's her own strength that makes her a legend.
It makes her so much more compelling.
Yeah, it's not just a passive thing.
No, not at all.
But then, of course, things take a dark turn.
Yeah. The betrayal.
The condemnation.
And even as she's facing the flames, the voices are still there,
It's a powerful image.
promising her legacy.
That unwavering resolve with the fire rising and the voices continuing.
It really stays with you.
It's a reminder that even someone as extraordinary as Jean
With all that conviction and skill.
can still be brought down by politics.
Yeah.
And those voices promising her legacy, it suggests that even in death,
Her impact, her faith, her incredible skill.
it would all live on.
It's like the Saint of Steel takes this classic ninja archetype and turns it into something new.
Yeah, it's a figure who's both saintly And a warrior.
And it's the blending of those two sides that makes her so fascinating.
Really fascinating.
All right, so let's switch gears completely. Our second story, Invisible No More.
This one takes us into a totally different world.
Oh yeah, much more modern, fantastical.
We've got a ninja who can actually turn invisible.
Literally invisible.
And she has to go undercover at a spy academy.
A spy academy, how cool is that?
It's like the perfect setup for action and intrigue.
Oh, absolutely.
The story takes that classic ninja invisibility and just runs with it.
Explores all its possibilities.
We meet Maya, and her invisibility isn't a trick or a disguise.
No, it's like a family trait.
Right. It's part of who she is.
Passed down through generations.
And she has to infiltrate this Nightingale Academy to uncover some corruption.
So right away, you've got this conflict.
Yeah.
She wants to stay hidden. That's her instinct.
That's how she's always lived.
But to complete her mission, she has to engage with the world around her.
She has to be seen.
In a way.
And that tension comes out right in her first class.
Hand-to-hand combat.
It's a classic setup, but with this fantastic ninja twist. So she's sparring with this guy, Ethan. And accidentally, her invisibility is revealed.
I bet Ethan was pretty confused.
Can you imagine his hand just passing right through her?
Yeah, and then she reappears, and boom, she wins.
Yeah.
It's this funny moment, but also kind of awkward for her.
Oh, definitely awkward.
But it creates this instant connection between them.
Yeah, even though it's based on this really weird experience.
It's definitely weird.
So their relationship starts out as this rivalry.
Yeah, friendly, but competitive.
But it grows into something more.
But for Maya, that's a huge risk.
Oh, yeah.
Her whole life, she stayed hidden.
Literally and figuratively.
To let someone really see her emotionally, it makes her vulnerable.
It's like this central tension in the story.
Yeah.
The paradox of a power that isolates you.
You're strong because you're unseen, but then you want connection.
And that means giving up your biggest asset.
It makes you think about identity.
Absolutely.
About the cost of hiding who you are.
So then the story throws in this extra layer of suspense. Harmers of stolen tech.
And this shadowy power within the academy.
It raises the stakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just petty corruption anymore.
There's a real threat.
Yeah, something bigger.
And I bet for you, the listener who sent this in, this part probably felt like confirmation.
Like Maya's clan was right to be worried.
Exactly.
It's not just observation anymore. It's time for action.
And the climax, it's so well done.
The raid on the secret lab.
And Maya, she's leading the charge, but she's visible.
She's not hiding anymore.
It's this amazing transformation.
She's choosing to be seen, to fight openly.
To protect the people around her.
And then the headmistress betrays them.
Right in front of Ethan.
Oh, man.
It shows just how much danger Maya is in.
And that betrayal, seen through Ethan's eyes.
It adds this whole other level of emotion.
It's not just the danger, it's the broken trust.
The shattering of this whole system.
He thought he understood the academy, and now it's all crumbling.
And by the end, Maya's achieved her goal.
She's completed her mission, but she's had to give up her anonymity.
And maybe even her connection with Ethan.
So Invisible No More is really a story about transformation.
About starting hidden and learning to be seen.
Maya's strength comes from her invisibility at first.
Right, it's her shield.
But she learns that real strength can mean being vulnerable.
Choosing to reveal yourself.
It's a powerful message.
Really powerful.
So we've got these two very different stories. Both using the ninja archetype.
What do you think it says about why we're still so drawn to ninjas in fiction?
I think it shows just how adaptable the archetype is.
In The Seed of Steel, it's like they took those ninja qualities and grafted them onto a real historical person.
It adds this whole new layer to a story everyone knows.
And in Invisible No More, it's more literal.
Right, they take invisibility and just explore it.
See what stories they can tell with it.
But in both cases, you have this highly skilled individual.
Operating outside the norms.
Doing things their own way.
And for you, the listener, think about how that element of surprise
makes these stories so effective.
It's the unexpectedness.
Jean's incredible swordsmanship back in the 15th century.
Or Maya's invisibility in a modern spy academy.
It makes them stick with you.
It makes you rethink what you thought you knew.
And it challenges us to imagine new possibilities.
To see how these archetypes can evolve.
To be surprised by them.
So, which approach did you find more compelling?
Yeah, which one grabbed you?
The historical twist or the modern fantasy?
It's a tough choice.
And it makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What other settings could work for this kind of cowboys versus ninjas idea?
It's fun to think about.
Taking those core ninja elements, the discipline, the skills,
the secrecy,
and putting them in a completely different world.
Historical, fictional, whatever.
It's a great thought experiment.
It really is.
Well, thank you for sending in these amazing stories.
They were fantastic.
It's been a blast exploring these unexpected takes on the ninja.
Yeah, lots of fun.
And if you're hungry for more stories that bend genres and surprise you, you know what to do.
Rate and follow the Cowboys vs. Ninjas podcast.
I'll see you next time.